Hello and welcome everyone to a new tier list video. And in this one, we are revisiting the factions, but we are ranking them for a whole different purpose. You probably saw a lot of videos for the Jebus Roulette. It is a tournament, and the tournament is based on the Jebus Outcast template with the one hero format, and that is exactly what I'll be ranking the factions for. How good they are when you use them in the Jebus Outcast template, and when you use only one hero in order to play it. I'll be going over the starting strategies and heroes that are popular and how good they actually are when being used in this faction. So let's go on. The first faction we have is Rampart. And Rampart, while being pretty good naturally outside of one hero gameplay, ends up being really bad in when you only use one hero. The reason being is that in Jebus Outcast, you don't really get any creature banks. So your army comes from what you build, boxes, as well as creature dwellings. And the dwellings are really hard to build for Rampart because they cost a lot of resources. And resources don't come cheap in one hero gameplay. You have to collect every single resource that you get, you have to collect on your main. And that really adds up. When Rampart needs like a lot of wood, a lot of crystals, a lot of gems, that ends up being very expensive in terms of how many moves you have to use on your main hero in order to get these resources. And most usually you cannot get your Unicorn Glade on week 1. If you want dragons, then it's a very excruciating long build path. So Rampart B ends up being like pretty unrewarding to play. Their units are really hard to get, and also not that rewarding to get anyway when you do. So they're one of the worst factions in terms of one hero gameplay. D tier, pretty garbage. By the way, they usually play Genova or Ares. These heroes are pretty decent. Genova ends up being a good might hero that can use the elves pretty well. And Ares is a hero that is more based on control. You get scouting early game, and then you're able to have a lot of knowledge for using control spells later into the game. Both these options are okay, but neither of them are really that exceptional. Next up is we have Conflicts. Now, Conflicts ends up being pretty strong. They have a lot of things going for them. Their main starter pick is Munir. They use Munir as their one and primary hero when it comes to playing one hero gameplay. His biggest selling point is the fact that he starts off with really amazing secondary skills. Offense and logistics. Logistics is gonna actually get you around the map. It is one of the best skills to start on in this kind of format. And of course, playing Conflicts, you're gonna be having access to the Magic University. So whatever schools of magic you want, you will be guaranteed to get them. And that is absolutely amazing. Very nice faction with a very nice starter. They get very cool boxes having air elementals. You get to build a stack of those, and that is very, very strong. Their dwelling creatures are pretty strong in terms of the psychic elementals. They are one of the better factions that you can play in the one hero format. A tier. Next up is Fortress. Now, when you think about Fortress, you might be assuming that they're a little bit bad because their high tier creatures are also, like Rampart, not that rewarding to build, but they're a lot easier to build. And honestly, their boxes and their hero choice carries them really far. Fortress usually starts off with either Broghild for Development Specialty and Scouting, or if you want to go even a smoker path, you can also start with Alkin. Alkin is a tremendous powerhouse choice. By level 5, he'll be so strong that he'll be clearing most of the fights on auto combat, even with minimal army. And though Fortress is not going to be having minimal army at all, Fortress boasts one of the strongest boxes in the game. You get 60 Lizardmen, insane. You get so many Gorgons from boxes as well. Every single box that you can take on Fortress is very tremendous in terms of just how much raw power you get when it comes to taking fights. And honestly, they're one of the factions that can do those the earliest, can do the break the earliest, so they can snowball their advantage. They're one of the only factions in Jebus Outcast that does not have to go for dwellings. They can actually just snowball off with bosses out of control. They are very solid, really good. I would say they are A tier. Next up is Stronghold. And Stronghold is very good for a few reasons. Their main primary choices for a starter hero is the Shiva and Krellian. Now, Krellian has a very distinct, amazing advantage in Jebus Outcast. You see, naturally, interference is not a skill that you can roll or find out on a map no matter what you do, it's just disabled. However, heroes that start with interference are not necessarily disabled, and Krellian is one of those heroes. He is one of the only good heroes in the game that you can actually get and use interference on, and that's amazing. Many players, even high-end players, end up favoring this hero quite a bit due to this reason. The other popular choice is Shiva. Shiva is amazing as well, having a barbarian that's going to be rolling amazing skills, has awesome primary stats, and also gets the scouting in order to see pretty much the entire biome, and later on the desert, at a very good rate. I mean, they see really far, they can make better decisions on where you go. Scouting is an amazing skill to start on, and yeah, Shiva has it, while also having the offense and the barbarian skill tree. So that is also amazing. Either of these choices gonna lead you pretty far, but the main advantage of Stronghold is that they have the best power stack to build, and it's one of the easiest stacks to build. When you put these two things together, you have a really nice combo. Behemoth Dwellings externally are buildable week 1, and you can even build the Behemoth Crag in your main on week 1. So you can start building the power stack of Behemoths early, and then when you get some resources off of having the Behemoths by farming some Crystal Treasuries or even the Utopia, Dwarven Treasuries, sorry. Yes, that's gonna lead to you being able to upgrade to Ancient Behemoths, and Ancient Behemoths are one of the best power stacks in the entire game of Jebus Outcast. Because of that, I would put them at low S tier. There they go. Now, next up is Dungeon. Dungeon ends up being a little bit weird in Jebus Outcast. Their main advantage, of course, is going to be the portal summoning. However, portal summoning does not really provide as much tempo as it usually would, because you don't get to, carry over the army that you get in the portal summoning over to your main hero that you're using, because you don't get to use side heroes on one hero gameplay, of course. So the portal summoning isn't as impactful, and the creatures of Dungeon actually just kind of suck. Building Minotaurs and keeping them alive for long enough for them to be useful is not really that easy. So Minotaurs are not a preferred power stack. Then Manticores also kind of suck because they have don't really have amazing stats. They're not that fast. They're kind of meh. Also, their dwelling is like really expensive to build and not that much of a favorable build path either. And if you want dragons, they're okay, they're decent, but they are super hard to build. Even building them week 2 is like a struggle. Most other people that are using more conventional stats is going to be running ahead of you. So the main strategy of Dungeon is to actually get a bunch of good boxes that will lead you places. But their bosses are not as high quality as the Fortresses ones. So they fall like flat on almost every single way that they can play. Because of that, they're not that good of a faction. I would say they are C tier. Next up is Inferno. Now, Inferno ends up having pretty tough dwelling fights, as in, if Woody Dwelling is not that easy to take, and the Devil Dwelling is not that easy to take, but nonetheless, they're actually really rewarding to take because their units are actually awesome. Having a fast unit with no retaliation in terms of the Devil is amazing, having the fast tier 6 with lots of damage in the form of a 3D is amazing. Their starter hero choices are also pretty good. They usually roll with either Fiona or Nimus, and both these heroes do a pretty good job. Fiona with advanced scouting, she's probably going to be having expert scouting by level 2. She's going to be seeing the entire map, and you'll be making really well-educated choices on where you want to go. And if you go Nimus, then honestly it might not matter where you go, because she's just that strong. She's going to be brute forcing her way forward. Really solid hero. The only downside is that their units are pretty expensive to buy, and the dwellings are not that easy to build either. These things hold them back, put them at B tier, in my opinion. Next up is we have Tower. Now, Tower boasts they're kind of all over the place. The main thing about Tower is that they don't really have good heroes. Whenever you play Tower in a conventional setting, non-one hero setting, what you end up doing is you find just a hero from another faction, and then you roll with that, because there's not many good Tower mains. But of course, in one hero setting, you don't really get to do that, and because of this, you are kind of stuck with a subpar main. And yeah, the usual domains of choice are either Rissa or Picodrum. Picodrum is going to be able to see the map better, and also he's really, really fast. You just get yourself a stack of obsidian gargoyles, and you get to take the side towns, build up an economy, and play in a more passive way, I would say. Or if you really want to take it tempo, no matter what, you go Rissa. She doesn't have much of a specialty at all, but it's kind of whatever. Where she shines is the fact that she has offense. And offense is gonna let you take fights earlier. And also she starts off with Magic Arrow and the Spellbook too. That also kind of helps in terms of taking like that one early dwelling that will lead into other dwellings and so on. She is kind of good, kind of strong, but honestly she is the worst Might Hero out of all the factions that you could take. So yeah, Tower is really held back by that. But their units are really strong. Now Queens are one of the strongest power stacks in the game. If you can get the Titans, that is also one of the strongest power stacks in the game. And you also get Master Genie support. And in Jebus Outcast, Haste and Slow is banned, if you didn't know. So, but Genies can actually cheat out Haste. So if they do, that's really powerful. So yeah. Genie's cheating the game, power stacks being really powerful. Despite the bad heroes, Scary Tower to be a pretty decent faction. About B tier, I would say. Then, next up is we have Castle. No, Castle is the actual king of one hero gameplay. For a few reasons. First of all, the most conventional power stack of Castle can be built on like no resources. You just get a bunch of wood and you're basically good to go to build a champion power stack. And then that's absolutely amazing. So they're pretty easy to get going as well because their bosses are really nice. Pac-Man boxes, Marksman boxes, super influential. It will just let you just swim through the map and do every single fight on auto combat, and it's gonna be like a wonderful time. They are also the faction that has stables. And when you play one hero only, 400 moves every single turn cannot be underestimated. And of course, the more the game goes on, the longer it goes, the more value that actually picks up. And across multiple weeks, it's going to be saving you thousands of movement from a single building in the main. Amazing. Also, Castle boasts some of the best best heroes to play in a one hero setting. For example, Beatrice is usually the primary choice. Scouting specialty. Your hero is gonna be a walking redwood observatory. And also, if you get to build angels, if your vibe is like that rich, then it's all honestly like just nuts. Early game, mid game, late game, Castle is wonderful. Their heroes are really, really good. Their buildings and the castle support this kind of playstyle the best out of any faction. They are just nuts. Straight up nuts. So there you go. Next up is we have Necropolis. Necropolis usually uses Tamika as your primary hero because honestly, when it comes to one hero Necropolis, it only revolves around one unit, to be honest, and that is the Dread Knight. Dread Knights are notoriously good. They're actually surprisingly easy to build. They cost a lot of gold, but gold is easier to pick up on your main hero than resources are, because you can do like a treasury, that's gonna give you lots of gold immediately, you do a few of those, and you're good to actually even build a dwelling on week 1, which is not something that many factions can do. And then you build, you get like a few external dwellings as well, and your Tamika with Black Knight specialty, it's gonna be able to use all the Dread Knights to a really, really high level. So it's also like a pretty nice setup. Also, Tamika gets to create 1 stacks off of every single fight that she takes. Skeletons are not usually used as a power stack, and the Necromancy is usually used to just supply 1 stacks that die for you over and over and over again in every single fight instead of your other more valuable units, which could be liches. Maybe you can have like a vampire power stack, and of course the Dread Knights, which are the almighty power stack that will get you through every single game. I would say that they are also like that. I mean, no, actually, I would say they're high beat there. I do like them. Then last, and certainly not least, by the way, is Cove. So, Cove boasts many of the advantages that Castle does. They get to build their tier 6 unit really early, really easily, usually buildable on week 1 without too much troubles, and also they get the benefit of having moving Redwood Observatory hero in the form of Miriam. And also, that Miriam also gets logistics over Beatrice, so that's even better. Like an even better hero than the castle gets, and also a more late game friendly stack as well, because Nyx has ignored the defense, and that ends up being relevant for very many situations. They're super tanky, better than Cavaliers even. Now, they don't really have a very relevant tier 7 unit, and they also don't get the benefit of the area town having any good special buildings for this kind of scenario either. They don't have the stables. So despite Miriam being a better hero and Nyxus being a better power stack, they still fall a little bit behind Castle, in my opinion, but still in the S tier. So this was my personal list for the one hero factions for Jebus Outcast in its current iteration. I would like to summon now the Tribunal and ask for their opinions and what they think.
Hello, hello. How you guys doing?
Hey, Farrell.
Hey, Lexi. Hey, Ame. How are you?
Ame?
Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Uh,
there we go.
yes, now.
What the hell, guys? You guys are baiting me. Yeah, first of all, hi, and I wanted to point out that Lexi kind of messed up this list. On the first factions, you didn't really discuss the chances of getting different heroes. For example, for conflicts, you discussed having Munir. But what are the odds of you actually getting Munir since this is for this specifically for one hero, right?
We're
Well, for
talking
the
about
other ones,
we're talking about the tournament format that we're playing Jibs Roulette, in which you actually pick your starting hero.
oh, right, you pick it. So yeah, I guess that makes a good point. Then why is Rampy bad exactly? Because you can
Unicorns,
start with Ivor, you can start with
Ivor is not available in the template.
Okay, I need you to stop making my points invalid, but just go along with me sometimes. But yeah, most of them I can agree with, but I feel like Rampy is kind of too low. Because Dungeon doesn't really have a good power stack. Honestly, they don't have a good power stack unless you go for 1,000 Shaktis, which is not gonna happen. While on Rampy, you can have Elvis, you can have Unicorns. Sure, it's expensive and stuff, but have you seen the Rito utilized Dendroids? Dendroids can be really strong. While
Honestly,
in
yeah.
Dungeon,
That Rito game was honestly a really big anomaly, and it honestly made people trade like a little bit more favorably towards Rampy, but still, it probably is the worst, at least in my opinion.
but is it worse than Dungeon?
I would say, yeah.
Sure, whatever, Alexi, whatever you're saying. I disagree fully, but sure. Feral?
Fair, fair.
So I agree with the placements of all the towns, but I agree with them for very different reasons why you actually put them where they are. Um,
Okay.
so talking about Dungeon, I know Ame just mentioned them. Dungeon is amazing for two additional reasons I don't think you mentioned. Firstly, they get mana vortex, and that is massive in the game to be able to double your hero's mana. And especially in the late game and the final battle, that could pretty much on its own decide the fate of a battle, just having the mana pool advantage. So that's definitely a huge point in their favor. And the
Yeah.
second thing for one hero is that they get artifact merchants. Artifact
Oh.
merchants is one of the most impactful buildings you can get in the late game, especially when you want to afford all those high-end units and everything you've built up. Being able to sell all your trash arties and get a ton of resources, that often enables you to be able to upgrade your red dragons to black dragons or do whatever it is you want to do. So those
Oh.
two things alone make them a lot stronger, at least compared to Rampy, in my mind. I still think they deserve their placement because their boxes aren't great. But then again, they do get Damacon, which is one of the strongest heroes in the game. or if you're Rito and you like Alak, but we'll leave that for him. But yeah, I think on those alone, dungeon are decent. And similarly for Confi, I think their boxes are bad. I mean, water elementals, fire elementals, they're not good. But like dungeon, they get RT merchants. But more importantly, for one hero, they get Magic University. And being able to guarantee air and earth magic on your hero so you can double DD and teleport around and teleport and all that stuff is incredibly important to be able to control the map. So I definitely think that's another point in their favor as well.
Yeah, very valid. I kind of rarely end up with situations where I'm not able to find an automations when I want one, because usually you have access to like 5 or 6 downs, and if you don't really score any single down with automations, then you're like kinda, like really low rolling.
Yes, but you
But
got to
yeah.
remember, not everyone has Lexi luck. We don't just say, I need a Confi town and one appears magically. For us normal mortals, this isn't likely to happen.
Okay. Those are fair points. I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. Yeah, I didn't actually mention much of the dungeon heroes. Shakti and Lorelei are usually the options, and Lorelei gets to scout out the map really fast and also move around really fast around the map. That's just kind of nice. Or Damokon just mows the entire map. So those are pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't even remember if you mentioned it, but for Cove is amazing because of Miriam. I think that hero carries the faction more so than anything the faction itself brings. I mean, they're good, but Miriam is without question the best hero and one hero, JR, by far.
Yeah. She's absolutely amazing. So
is Rampart.
yeah. I hope you. I hope you guys enjoyed the tier list. Let me know what you think. And also, currently Jebus Roulette is going on. You can check out the tournament games over at my Twitch. They happen daily, or we upload them to YouTube as well. So yeah, lots of content to go around. Hope you guys enjoy. Have a wonderful week, and see you next time. Bye bye.
Thank you, Lexi.
Yeah.
You're gay. You're gay.
Ahmed, it felt like you fuck all about fuck all in this video.
Bro, I have no idea what the fuck the rules are to JR. I have no idea. I literally have...
getting this hero. No, you're gonna get Evo. Oh no, you know nothing, Ahmed.
Dude, I went full feral on Alagar. I literally went full feral on Alagar.
Ame on Ame here. That was so fucking bad.
70 damage Ice Bolt?
Excuse me. Sure, get your Evo on JO. Let's see how that goes for you. At least I mentioned a hero and a spell that exists.
Sorcery? He starts with sorcery specialty?
Oh,
Excuse me?
Start with sorcery. So I was halfway there.
Okay. Sure. Whatever. Anyway, I actually feel like Rampart was way better than you put him in.
Rampart, like, legitimately the Ame. It is, without question, the worst.
By the way, Ame, did you see? Currently, Jebus Outcast, when heroes being played by like all the Russian professionals, Fight the Sky, Hellite, like all the pro Russian players are playing it like daily, like grinding it every single day. Like as a fun format, not only for the tournament.
We started a movement.
Yeah, and based on that, the rankings were made, and everybody just agrees that Rampy just likes donkey balls, absolutely.
But I also think Rampy probably has the highest potential to ultra high roll compared to
any other
like if you hit the nuts, like 1 in 100.
Yeah, dude, that Rito game, Jesus.
Yeah, let's give me 90 ends week 1, thank you. Yeah.
He did probably the early stop in the tournament.
Yeah, but I can also say that if you have 90 ends, there's no guarantee they'll ever hit something in the final battle.
Yeah, he kind of had to transition into something else.
No? Did Rito win the game? Did he win the game?
Yeah, he broke 1, 2, 3 or something on one hero JO.
And what sound did he play? What faction?
Rampart.
He played Rampart that game.
100% win rate on Rampart? Okay.
I think it's the only game Rampart won in the
tournament. I hear you. Out of...
Like 10?
Yeah, but because I haven't played, like, no one was